welcome back. Here we are in the shop with Ivy again. Too many projects, not enough time. I'm Andrew, and as you know, this is Ivy. So today, what we're going to try and do today is get the shiny new distributor put in. Now, I still don't have the harmonic balancer with the timing marks on it. I believe it's on its way. So we're going to try and find top dead center without those marks, and then we might bolt the intake on in this video. So to find top dead center, disclaimer here, I'm no super mechanic. I'm just a layman who watches YouTube. I'm more of a body guy than I am mechanical engine. I do have support I call on if and when need be, as well as bouncing my theories on stuff off someone who does know it, so I'm not completely redneck in it. And I've done my YouTube research on finding top dead center without the distributor in it, and I believe we're going to crank the engine, turn the engine by hand until the intake valve opens and closes, and then somewhere in the middle between that and the exhaust valve opening and closing should be roughly top dead center. And based on doing these before in my younger years with the 4.2 liter I had in my old two-door Range Rover in Australia, I know, and from research as well, I know basically where the rotor button's got a point. So between all that, I think we're going to get close, and if I'm not close, you guys will tell me, and we'll figure all that out anyway before we fire it to get actual brum brum noises. So here we go. I'm going to show you kind of the valves opening and closing to find somewhere between intake opening and exhaust opening and closing, or intake and exhaust opening and closing in the middle there, and then we're going to put this in, set it roughly where it is, and there's nothing super scientific about that. And if I'm wrong, as I say, someone will tell me, and then we can narrow it down a little better once we get that harmonic balancer or crankshaft pulley balancer, whatever anyone wants to call it out there. Alright, let me show you what's going on there. Oh, the distributor that I'm using, in case you're wondering, is it's a Scorcher from Performance Ignition Services in Melbourne, Australia. I did a ton of research to find out the best with conflicting feedback on many of the different options available, more out of the UK for aftermarket stuff, and in the end, basically no one had a bad word to say about Scorcher. In fact, there was quite a few people said that they had a Scorcher in theirs and they've owned it for 10-20 years plus, and in fact every time they sell the vehicle they remove the Scorcher, put it into the next Land Rover V8, and they never sell them and just keep them, and they are amazing. So we'll find out. We'll journey this journey together. It did come to me without the gear on the bottom, which they don't normally do, but because I'm here in Canada and I'm very confident in drilling the hole through the shaft, they sent me everything I needed to do it properly, as far as instructions. Then I took it out to a friend's and we did it on his big mill. Not a problem, perfect. Now because my oil pump is on the crankshaft, because it's 4.6, I don't need the extra little piece on the bottom of here, because I'm not turning an oil pump with this distributor. If you are on your engine, make sure you have that extra little piece off your original distributor. Scorcher, at least, no affiliation, certainly didn't get it for free, believe me, except it's a great, I believe it's going to be a great product. We'll keep you updated over the years. Normally because they can't get the gears readily anymore, they actually want you to send in your gear off your existing distributor, and they will fit that to your new shiny one. Let me give you a close-up of what these look like. Very shiny, very cool. I do believe, I'm merely speculating going on from what I researched online, I do believe the guts and all sorts of stuff on this are Ford, I guess, and then all this bottom section is designed to fit the Land Rover. So I guess they do this particular portion up here for a bunch of different engines, Chevy, Ford, everything, and it's this part here that's custom to fit your engine, no matter what it is. But I'm probably guessing that this top portion is the same for all of their Scorchers. It's just the bottom different. Alright, let's elevate you up and we'll take a look here. Okay, so figuring out which is the #1 piston intake is quite easily. Your intake manifold goes on top here, and this chamber here goes to one of the valves here. So this first chamber, which is actually second chamber, don't get mixed up. This first one is coolant. Looks like it goes to this valve, but it doesn't. It's coolant to cross over between the water jackets. So the first intake, the larger hole, going into this valve here, and then this will be your exhaust. Now, from what I researched, as soon as this compresses, somewhere between this and the next one, which seems to be a long way, then that will be where we put it in. So let's figure this out together. Alright, #1 compresses, which opens #1, sucks air in, suck, bang, blow. So that's the suck. I'm going to put a little mark here. Now I could be completely off, and that's completely fine, because we'll get it figured out once we have the right pulley on here. So somewhere somewhere right about there, which I'd actually put, and we're going to check for top dead center. Checking for top dead center, you can put something in through your spark plug hole, and then there we go. So we're in between the intake valve and the exhaust valve opening and closing, and then we want to look for the piston to be at top dead center, which is at the very top. Now if you watch this little thing just resting on top of the piston, starts to go down, back up. So that is basically the piston at its highest point, so roughly there somewhere, which oddly is the same spot as I put a mark earlier, not the one you just saw me do then, but a previous mark. So in theory, based on all that theory, that should be correct. Now putting the distributor in, we're going to remove the rotor cap, so we can see the rotor button. Because I'm completely flying blind here, because all this is pulled apart a long time ago, the front's been off, put back together. Where this fits in the hole, now I was trying to decide, like, where do I put it? Clearly you can't have it over here because stuff is there. It doesn't really fit anywhere else except for in this range right there. And on the other distributors and what I see online, basically #1 normally is just this side of the clip. So the Scorcher sitting right here is where it's got the most room. and kind of one puts it roughly here. Now to get the rotor button pointing to where roughly number 1 should be here, we just pull it up a little bit so we can rotate it, and as we push it in, you'll see it rotates clockwise as those gears mesh in. So we want to go a little bit back of where we want to be and then push it in. So we now have quite a range of adjustment we can do for timing on this. The rotor button is pointing basically where number 1 should be. This is an extremely rough setup. We'll get better once we get the balancer put in. So I think that should basically be where it needs to be, because you really don't want any more adjustment than that anyway. That should be way more than enough, and everything clears and everything looks good. So I'm going to call that done. Pop it in so the O-ring seals in there. Then we got the bracket. Then we got the nut. Now I'm just going to do that up finger tight because we're still going to need to play around with adjustments later anyway. And then put the rotor cap on. So basically then that means that way there. You gotta remember to line the little nub up with the little recess in the collar there. And there. There we go. So that means this will be number 1, providing everything else works out. There we go. And if I'm lucky and I've researched correctly, that should roughly be close enough where we need it. If not, then we just pull it back up, rotate it to where we need it, put it back in again, and there we have it. Alright, moving on next. I think what I'm going to do is clean this valley up, put the valve covers back on, put the intake in. I think that's where we're at. Alright, let me go get the valve covers. Okay, in the previous video, two videos ago, who guessed correct? What is the color of the valve covers? Anybody? Anybody? Who thought blue? Who thought black? Well, whoever thought black was correct. I did highly consider blue though. Now we've got to fumble with these stiff rubber gaskets to get them to sit on properly. Okay guys, so while I was cleaning up the other gasket, which I showed you that looked a little scungy, I realized that they weren't new gaskets. So I've since replaced that with a new gasket, and in the meantime I've taken a quick run over to my the dealer of my addiction and picked up some new gaskets, and also bumped into one of my other followers, hi John, who is also an addict of Land Rovers with the same dealer of parts. Alright, so let's now get the other valve cover put on. Yeah, the other ones just seemed a little too rigid and scungy looking, not even though I was sure that they were new gaskets. Nice. Yeah, this piece is like putting a piece of jewelry on it. Let's see how much clearance we get on the valve covers when we boulder down. Because there isn't much right now. Okay guys, well we got a few bolts snugged down, and luckily we've managed to get about a fat 1/4 of an inch underneath the SUs and the valve covers. Luckily, because I didn't I wasn't sure. Now, I know this manifold's made for this engine to clear everything, but I still wasn't sure because it didn't look good. So anyway, we got clearance, which is good, because I actually, if you remember back a bunch of videos, I actually trimmed the back plates here to angle the carbs up a little bit to gain more clearance, which I'm very glad I did, because I really have very little clearance. Just enough to be comfortable, I think. Now the other question now is if I gotta add oil. Oh good. I can get the oil filler cap off and put it back in. Perfect. Only just, because it's getting close on the SU there, but that's good. I'd say maybe 3/8. I'm going to stick with a fat 1/4. I'm not going to chance it to 3/8 there. But, oh, I see I got a ball off of there. Alright, so I got to hook that bowl back on. Finish putting the bolts on. I won't bore you with that, and then we'll be back with the next step. Whatever that's going to be. Okay, good morning, and finally dragged my butt out of the house. Have a little trouble on these grey days, getting motivated, moving right along. So, start of another weekend. Just received yesterday in the mail, thank you to Dave through a Facebook group connection, Rover V8 Appreciation, I think it's called. Dave had the balancer we needed. As you can see the difference here, this is the one that was on the truck, off the 97 Discovery. I think I got this off at a friend's place, and this is the one I needed. Now these dimensions do line up. The depths, the right count on the belts are the same. So this is the one we need. One thing I do have to do, actually I probably should have done it to this one, this one as well. I'm going to bring it on up. I have noticed it was a good fast appreciated deal on this from Dave. I do see that line running around there. That's where the seal has eaten into the shaft there. So what we're going to do later today, I've reached out, my friend and Land Rover mechanic, and looking for a speedy sleeve. So we're going to, hopefully he's got one on the shelf. We're going to throw a speedy sleeve on here. Sorry, don't take the camera there. Alright guys, so we've got them separated. Let's see if she spins any faster, not attached to the gearbox. Okay, so she doesn't spin any faster, disconnected from the gearbox, so that's good. That it's not the gearbox causing any slow issues. Let's put some spark plugs in and see what that does. See how slow that makes it with compression turning over. We could have a dicky starter motor, so ho ho, okay guys, so we're back from the lake. I know it's been a couple of weeks and I've been stressing to get this done. We went to the lake for a week, had a little visit from the black dog there, all pumped up. It's Christmas Eve and I know I said I really wanted to get this to cough and run, at the very least cough, before Christmas. Well, it's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas everybody. So I've spent this morning here in the shop putting all the plugs and all the plug tubes, the spark plug leads, setting them all up, getting the timing done, and hooking the coil up. And I haven't tried this yet, but I believe I have everything what I need. All I need now is a little bit of, I'm going to use a little dash of brake cleaner just to get a cough to start with, and then I'll move on to hooking some fuel and a fuel pump up to get more than a cough. But first of all, we're just going to go for a cough with some brake cleaner. Comment below if you think it's going to cough or not. I have no clue. I've just been putting all this together. Let's give it a shot. Okay, just a dash of brake cleaner. Will it be a very Merry Christmas? We'll give it some juice. Oh, we got a new starter motor because the other one was dodgy, which is why it wouldn't turn over fast. As well as the jumper cables are also dodgy, so it's a double whammy against me there trying to get that. So I think with better jumper cables and a new starter, let's give it a go. Woo! Holy crap, that's loud. Now I don't have any wipe. Oh my god, that's fucking awesome. Whew! Alright, so I don't have any white pipes on this or exhaust or anything. So we're practically just wide open there, so it's fucking loud. Before Christmas, guys, I got it. This is awesome. Holy cow. She is ready to rumble. Alright, give me a minute. I'm going to hook a fuel pump up and a fuel line. You don't really need to see me do that. This has been a long video of fucking going nowhere. Sorry, I'm swearing. This is awesome. It's the best. Yes. I just want to get it going long enough that I can see some oil pressure, because that's what I've been trying to search for weeks. But after doing more and more research, basically getting the answer of you're not going to see oil pressure until it actually runs. You're not going to see it off the starter basically. So I believe, pressure pre-lube in it, and anyway, let me get that fuel line hooked up and let's finish off with a 30-second reveille. Alright guys, we've got the doors open, I've got the fuel hooked up, pump's running. I'm just going to prime it with pressure, not keep the pump running, because I'm not going to run it that long enough to see some oil pressure. I know it fires. We've got fuel now. I've got to pressure it up, nothing's dripping out anywhere. I took the coil up. And let's try and get some oil pressure. Alright. We're hot. I'm going to hook that up real easy because that's the only way to turn it off quick. Just pull that off. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And I got oil pressure. I got about 30 pounds of oil pressure, so that's pretty good. And she runs and spits flames. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you very much for coming along and watching my videos for the last couple of years of building Ivy and the Can-Am Defender and now the 101 and everything else I do. And for those of you, just noticed the harmonic balance is not lined up anymore, but we'll take a look at that and find out what's happening there. But thanks for coming along, appreciate it. We'll see you all in 2023. The lake froze last week while we were there, as in all the lines in the cabin. So next week it warms up, so I'm going back next week to defrost it and get it winterized again. But once I get back in the new year, we'll get back onto this and start putting stuff back together and start doing everything else. Appreciate it, guys. It's awesome. She runs again. Woohoo!